searching for the perfect love. You can't purchase it, you perfect love. Don't be searching for the perfect love unless the love you searching for someone inside yourself.
Welcome back to the Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays podcast. I'm your host, your music midwife and nerdy hip hop homegirl, Coco Peila. I'm an MC, record producer, singer, songwriter, and you know a music midwife is like a songwriting coach, but better, baby. So the MC, that's the part that qualifies me to take y'all on this journey. And we are back at Her Story in the Pages. Y'all know I love this segment. You love this segment. Let's stop playing games, okay? Currently, Her Story in the Pages is reading through God Save the Queens, the essential history of women in hip hop, written by Kathy Iandoli. And you know what? Big shout out to Kathy Iandoli. And Kathy, I've been out here cutting up, not actually reading your bio from the back of your book. And I apologize, girl. Kathy Iandoli, okay, is a critically acclaimed journalist and author. She has written for Paper, Teen, Vogue, Vibe, The Source, Double XL, The Village Voice, Rolling Stone, Billboard Magazine, Pitchfork, Playboy, Cosmopolitan, Maxim, The Guardian, Vice Magazine, and many other publications. She has held editorial positions at top hip-hop urban websites, including allhiphop.com, hiphopdx.com, and bet.com. Iandoli is an alumna in residence of music business at New York University and has appeared across the media on television, radio, and panels discussing hip hop and gender. She lives in northern New Jersey. Big shout out to Kathy Iandoli. If you want this book, which you should, because this book is fire, go down to the YouTube description. I always include it every episode where we read. She has given us her blessing to read this book. And go buy this. The soft copy, the hard copy, buy it. I believe it's HarperCollins. Anyway, the link is down below. So let's get into it. Today is a super special episode in that usually we only read one chapter, but we're going to read the interlude and the chapter because the interlude is super short. So let's start with the interlude. Ready? Get your book out. Page 82. Y'all like, please don't take me back to class. Okay. Page 82. Interlude. Revenge on Roxanne. In 1992, Roxanne Shante released The Bitch Is Back, attacking the next generation of artists under her on the venomous track, Big Mama. She starts, so Lotto wasn't the only one to say Big Mama. I wonder if Lotto knows that Roxanne Shante released Big Mama. Okay, back to the book. She starts with rehashing her beef with the real Roxanne and Sparky D, name-checking them for no apparent reason but to add to the body count. Her next set of victims includes Queen Latifah and Moni Love. She collectively bullies them about ladies first, flipping the script to remind them that she's the first lady, though she takes it a step further. With Latifah, it's the insertion of R&B into her rhymes, which theoretically set a tone for generations to come. If Roxanne Shante only knew what the future would hold. With Moni Love, she challenges having a hit single over being a one-hit wonder, despite the fact that Moni had a whole healthy career long before and after Moni in the Middle. Long before and after Moni in the Middle. Then came MC Light's turn, followed by Yo-Yo's, Salt and Peppers, and even Isis, the Corona Queens X-Clan affiliate, later known as Lin Q. Using words like slut, butch, bitch, and hoe, Roxanne was bringing a different energy to the space, one that could be viewed as self-aggrandizing given the number of insults she was hurling toward the generation she inspired. The track has gone down in rap history as one of the most murderous disses, and when Shantae targeted all the female rappers on the rise by name, it was only a matter of time before most of them returned the favor. By then, they were the ones in demand, and Shantae's diss track felt like sour grapes. Still, she indisputably paved the way for them all and had no qualms about reminding them of that. In the true spirit of competition, their responses were inevitable. Queen Latifah dropped I Can't Understand on her Black Rain album in 1993. The smooth album cut is laced with jabs as Latifah addresses the elephant in the room, that Roxanne Shantae's career was long past its time. Meanwhile, MC Lyte titled her Shantae response, released in 1993's Ain't No Other, Steady Fuckin', after the Boogie Down production line against Shantae from The Bridge Is Over. She even uses a line as a sample on the track, a seasoned battler from her war with Antoinette. Lyte pulled no punches, telling Shantae to quit trying and then threatening to hit her with her car, a Land Cruiser to be exact. Salt and Pepper joined in with the very necessary album cut, Somebody's Getting on My Nerves, simply stating that Shantae was jealous of their success. This is what Curtis Blow was saying, Debbie D says of Roxanne Shantae's battle with the new class. You don't just start dissing other people like that. It's about the rhymes and having substance in your lyrics. If the only substance to your rhymes is an insult, then a layer of negativity is automatically added to your whole aesthetic, a characteristic which now dominated even Shantae's live performances. But like Curtis Blow said, the contribution to the art form set a new standard for what battle rap would become, for better or for worse. When jabs are your trademark, that leaves little room for diversifying. Shantae's animosity for the artists who followed her was indicative of her short-lived success story. Here was an artist who, in one fell swoop, took on the whole rap industry by not only boldly challenging a prominent group, but landing right on the radio when most rap artists couldn't. She had the success, saw the success, and felt the success, but then lost the success. Times were changing. And like so many girls before her, Shantae was shuffled to the back to make way for the new group of artists on the come up. That didn't sit right with her, clearly, so her response was to bark back in really the only way she knew how, with her lyrics. Did it do much for her career besides adding another diss track notch to her belt? Not really, but it did prove she still had that fire in her. While her peers didn't exactly credit her for the success of their contributions, years later, Roxanne was acknowledged as a major influence by female rappers and is still referenced today. In Foxy Brown's December 1998 cover story for Vibe magazine, she praises Shantae. Roxanne Shantae? She's a pioneer for the type of shit I'm doing, she tells Vibe editor-in-chief Danielle Smith in the piece. I swear by her. She was a bitch back in the day for having skills. She was stepping out of limos with full-length minks, diamonds. She was like, I'm that bitch, I'm here, and these are my niggas, and this is how we roll. The cycle would take place again and again as artists from one generation took umbrage over the next, not crediting them for passing the baton. We saw it with Lil' Kim and Nicki Minaj, and later with Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. While it could be argued that Roxanne Shantae was setting a tone for what other female rappers would do in decades to follow, it was more reflective of the threat of losing the place she had worked to fill. Roxanne Shantae stood in between two worlds. She was the first female rapper on the radio, but one of the last of her peers to release a physical album. By then, radio airplay was par for the course, so her milestone had lost its luster. Undeniable behind the mic, her skills felt reserved for the stage and nowhere else. It was a symptom of hip-hop evolving so quickly that Roxanne Shante had no time to catch up. This would be a moot point if she were male, as acts like Eminem have made a whole career out of constructing lyrically sharp parodies and puns. Yet Shante couldn't, despite doing it first. Maybe Roxanne Shante was still too young to accept that she was not now a predecessor, or maybe she was just so used to being the one and only solo female rapper on the scene that she didn't take kindly to the new class. Whatever the case, at the age of 23, Roxanne Shante essentially retired from rap. Chapter 7, Time for Some Action. I once dusted a TLC cassette for Left Eye's fingerprints. True story. They were performing at East Side Park in Paterson, New Jersey, promoting their debut album, 1992's Ooh on the TLC tip. Not that okay, yeah. Anyway, Ooh on the TLC tip. I wasn't allowed to go to the show because I was young. It was too late at night, and Eastside Park was a hot spot for violence. My friend Tracy's father, Tim, was working security at the event, and while guarding TLC's trailer, he had them autograph a poster for his daughter and a cassette tape for me. I used this convenience store detective kit I had to dust the cassette for prints in hopes that there was a trace of Lisa Lopez on the plastic wrapper engulfing what would soon become my favorite album of the early 90s. I still have that cassette to this day, along with a pair of glasses with one lens covered in green saran wrap, because I didn't know what a prophylactic even was, and therefore couldn't successfully nail Left Eye's signature condom on her glasses look. A for effort, I suppose. Even as a preteen, I was tuned into the messages coming through the pipeline from TLC. As the boys' club was slowly breaking up and women's voices were truly being heard, it was more than a time to speak up. It was the time to finally learn how to do it effectively. TLC cast a wide net with their fan base. We came for the aesthetic, yet stayed for the messaging. Politically speaking, 1992 is regarded as the year of the woman due to the significant jump in female representation within the Senate. What's up, y'all? I just wanted to make sure to invite you to collect the print. As you know, we have a limited edition 12 by 12 high quality print. And this is a collaboration with an amazing Black female artist named China Brown, who designed this. You can frame it, you can put it up in your office, you can put it up in your home, you can gift it to somebody. On the back is a wonderful QR code that you can scan, and it downloads the Love Me All acoustic, which is not going to be on my studio album. It's not on any of the streaming platforms. It's like a special, very limited release. If you want to know more about it, you want to order a pack with all the dope ass colors, or you just want to get a single, you can go to cocopeila.com/the-print. This is for every Black woman that gave the culture everything and got crumbs in return. We are investing in building a different system that really honors our art, our songs, our visual art, our contributions, our analysis as fine art. And I'm so excited to have y'all. So go snatch this shit up before it goes, because it's not gonna be here for long. And yeah. Thank you. The boost was not so coincidentally timed with Anita Hill's sexual harassment allegations toward the Supreme Court nominee, Clarence Thomas, in 1991. The social climate in the United States was changing too. That year, the National Center for Victims of Crime issued a statistical study titled Rape in America, a Report to the Nation. revealing dramatic statistics about sex crimes in America, considering that 1,871 reported rapes were happening per day. Tori Amos dropped her folk pop solo debut album, Little Earthquakes, a self-healing classic about her overcoming the devastating effects of her own rape. The third wave of feminism was growing along with punk rock's Riot Girl movement. That revolution started at Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington, after Bikini Kill frontwoman Kathleen Hanna learned that her roommate had barely escaped a potential rape right in their apartment building. She stood before her classmates chanting the rhythmic spoken word poem, "The Middle of the Night in My House," informing everyone of what happened. Concurrently, the Rodney King verdict sent Los Angeles into a downward spiral, giving way to the LA riots and being the first true example of exactly what groups like NWA and Public Enemy had warned us about when it came to the intersection of racism and police brutality. 4 cops were caught on videotape nearly beating a black man to death. His name was Rodney King, and when Los Angeles learned that 3 of the 4 police officers were acquitted, the 4th lacked a true verdict. A riot ensued, lasting for 6 straight days. This whole period of American history would become the perfect storm for female rappers, as the combination of gender and race crossed paths in a way that could only be reported through the microphones of Black women. The many men of hip hop were contributing more to the problem and not the solution. This was the year Boogie Down Productions dropped Sex and Violence, complete with the controversial track 13 and Good, about having sex with a criminally underage girl, which I would argue is statutory rape. Dr. Dre dropped his solo album, The Chronic, significantly upping the bitches and hoes quotient in rap lyrics. Sir Mix-a-Lot dedicated a hit single entirely to a woman's backside that same year with the now infamous Baby Got Back. And Oakland, California rapper Too Short was on his 7th album about pimping, aptly titled Shorty the Pimp. Female groups like Duo, BWP, Bitches with Problems were willing to take a stand and bark back at all the jokiness about women in men's rhymes by having a little fun of their own. With a twist on NWA's acronym mixed with the lewdness of acts like Florida's 2 Live Crew, BWP caused a stir, evidenced by their 1991 album, The Bitches, and its lead single, 2 Minute Brother. The potency came and went, unfortunately, as major labels like their own Columbia were still reticent to allow women fully expressive free reign without proven marketability. If misogyny pays, then it still gets the upper hand when it comes to the bottom line. Of course, there were other corners of rap balancing out the sexploitative saturation with different kinds of sounds like poppier Criss Cross's Totally Crossed Out, House of Pain's eponymous debut album, which birthed the whitewashed wedding favorite Jump Around, the Beastie Boys' Check Your Head, Pete Rock and CL Smooth's Mecca and the Soul Brother, Eric B. and Rakim's Don't Sweat the Technique, and Arrested Development's 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days in the life of. Without a doubt, a mixed bag of male-driven hits was filling up, indicative of the fact that most male performers were more preoccupied with their growing success stories than returning to rap's rarest yet most important form as an agent for change. It would be the year in which female rappers recharged, only to strike harder come 1993. But the one female hip-hop group who had an open lane in 1992 was TLC. The group began in 1990 in Atlanta, Georgia, when a young girl by the name of Crystal Jones was formulating a hip-hop meets R&B group of girls with the help of a local producer named Ian Burke. Tion Watkins and Lisa Lopez responded to the casting call, and the group was formed under the name Second Nature. They cut a demo with Rico Wade and Jermaine Dupri, but lucked out on an audition with Perry Pebbles Reed, who was interested in working with them. She changed their name to TLC, an acronym of the group's members' first names, and TLC was quickly auditioning for Pebbles' then husband, Antonio L.A. Reed, and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, who ran the label LaFace Records. Crystal ultimately left the group she started and was replaced by a dancer named Rosanda Thomas. The girls all got nicknames: T-Boz, Tion, Left Eye, Lisa, and Chili, Rosanda, keeping the TLC acronym intact. Ooh, on the TLC tip, was equal parts Public Enemy and Salt and Pepper. T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chili were animated, yet activated. Their music was zany and hyper, yet attached to each story woven within the high-powered music was a moral. Many viewed their debut album as an entree into pop music. This wouldn't be fully manifested until their second album, 1994's Crazy Sexy Cool, and particularly with the song Waterfalls. However, it was impossible to box a group that accessorized with vibrant colors to make a visual statement, along with inserting poignant messages and mixed styles of singing and rapping into their sound. So the pop title was granted as the easiest category, despite the group being rooted in hip hop thanks to Left Eye. Ken Tucker of Entertainment Weekly called TLC a perfect pop group for the times. In his 1992 review of their first album, it was an ill-fitting descriptor to say the least, a half-baked classification for a group that didn't need to be classified at all. As the primary co-writer of the project alongside Dallas Austin, Molly Mall, Jermaine Dupri, L.A. Reid, and Babyface, the late Lisa Left Eye Lopez was the strongest mouthpiece of the Atlanta-based trio. Yes, their cross-colors clothing was all checkered with condoms, neon band-aids, and giant pacifiers, making them appear almost cartoonish thanks to Pebbles Reed, whose vision was for TLC to be the female answer to groups like Criss Cross. Left Eye's giant hat and suspenders gave her an added Flavor Flav aesthetic, but her lyrics were brutally honest and cut through the sexually charged hooks and melodies like a knife. Popular singles on the album like Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Baby 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 were rooted in expressions of sexuality, while What About Your Friends tackled loyalty and distrust. All three singles broke the Billboard's Hot 100 Top 10. Despite its overly enthusiastic sound, Hat to the Bag carried a strong sentiment of remaining authentic and dressing as what some would regard as a tomboy. Baseball caps and all. Left Eye even flips the script, highlighting how some men dress categorically effeminate with finger waves, earrings, and tight pants to no issue. His story highlighted sexual assault set to the backdrop of the controversial Tawana Brawley rape trial of 1988, while Bad by Myself discussed living independent of a man. The group's fan club was called TLC's Proud. Oh my God, give me a second. The group's fan club was called TLC's Proud to Be Me, and there was no better means to summarize exactly the mission TLC had in mind. They were simply proud to be themselves. Their potency in hip-hop would inevitably be derailed by the success of the single Baby Baby Baby, which landed them in the number 2 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 and topped the Billboard Hot R&B and Hip-Hop Songs chart. The completely sung R&B love song about being romanced properly featured Left Eye only on the backing harmony, leaving no room for one of her signature raps in the middle. From that point on, Left Eye would be pushed further and further into the background, evidenced in 1994 by the removal of her classic rap, arguably the heart of the song, from the radio edit for Waterfalls. I seen a rainbow yesterday, but too many storms have come and gone, leaving a trace of not one God-given ray. A rap for Left Eye was tacked on to the music video version of TLC's No Scrubs off 1999's Fan Mail. As Left Eye's involvement was becoming less visible, she began lashing out. Though, was she the one changing, or was the group's direction causing her to change? Either way, Left Eye's bad girl image began developing in June 1994 after she set fire to her then boyfriend, Andre. How you say his last name? Andre Ricin? Look, y'all, I'm trying my best, okay? Andre Rison's mansion. Rison, an Atlanta Falcons wide receiver, was allegedly cheating on Left Eye, and when he came home from a night out, she challenged him for buying himself sneakers and none for her. He slapped her and tried sitting on her, eventually leaving the house. Left Eye placed a pair of his sneakers in the bathtub and lit them on fire. Then she walked outside, cracked the windshields of his car with the pipe from the vacuum cleaner, and stuck around to watch the house turn to ruins. She was arrested, released on $75,000 bail, sent to a halfway house, and received 5 years probation plus a $10,000 fine. Though she also checked herself into rehab, her rebellious reputation became her defining characteristic. In the November 1994 issue of Vibe magazine, TLC is on the cover dressed in firefighter uniforms. TLC fires it up, bringing up the charts, burning down the house is plastered across the cover, which became one of Vibe's hottest selling issues, pun fully intended. The cover story is dedicated almost entirely to Left Eye's rap sheet. The hardest thing about being in TLC is accepting the fact that I am Left Eye, she tells journalist Joan Morgan, who penned the story. I have to act a certain way according to what people expect. And what people expected at the time was a loose cannon, partially praised for the group's growing popularity, partially written off as a liability. Still, she managed to flex lyrically when she could. On the soundtrack to the 1995 film Panther, women in both hip-hop and R&B gathered together for 2 songs titled Freedom, a sung version, and a rap version. The rap version boasts a lineup including dancehall queen Patra on the hook, Queen Latifah, Yo-Yo, Salt and Pepper, MC Lyte, rhythmic rhymer Michelle Ndegeocello, and of course TLC. In the video, Left Eye is the one standing front and center, flanked by T-Boz and Chili. Their arms are extended, fists up, as Left Eye delivers a thought-provoking rhyme. Whoever said these are the things that you can do and the things you ain't supposed to? So am I further when I think I'm getting closer? Left Eye launches into a charged up verse attacking the system, saying her life choices should never be questioned, alluding to the conservative religious stance on abortions. She concludes with a comparison of how America's bald eagle is treated more delicately than the lives of Black people. She's not having it. A bird is never more important than my people. I guess we didn't need him, so I took away his freedom. As she finishes her rhyme, she rolls up her shirt sleeve, revealing a tattoo of an eagle on her arm. As a group, TLC delivers socially conscious pop, but as a soloist, Left Eye continued to evolve her hip-hop art with her witty, poetic lyricism. She appeared on Lil' Kim's remix of the hardcore track, Not Tonight, alongside Missy Elliott, New York City radio icon, briefly turned rapper Angie Martinez. And Angie, I'm rooting for you. I need that next album. And Chicago rabble-rouser Da Brat. In Left Eye's verse, she makes light of her fire starting as she rhymes, I be the one to blame as the flames keep rising to the top and it don't stop. In 2001, her solo album Supernova displayed her progression as a lyricist along with musical anecdotes about her life and journey through self-awareness. The song Untouchable includes a posthumous verse from Tupac Shakur. Before her passing in 2002, Left Eye joined Suge Knight's controversial Death Row record label with the new moniker NINA, New Identity Not Applicable. She was slated to release an album of the same name that year, the year that she died. There was so much more for Left Eye to do, both with TLC and as a soloist. Thanks to Left Eye, TLC brought a renewed spirit to outspoken female hip hop artists. The year after their debut, many of their peers followed suit. With the release of Salt and Pepper's Very Necessary in 1994, the group's commercial appeal was at record high, and the after effects would be felt for decades to come. The project's lead single, Shoop, helped Salt and Pepper reach a milestone as their first top 5 single on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 4, and also hit number 1 on the Hot Rap Song charts. In 2003, Ellen DeGeneres quoted the lyric "Shoop" during her Here and Now comedy special, a testament to Salt and Pepper's reach. Their single with En Vogue, What a Man, became their biggest hit, reaching number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and also hitting number 1 on the Hot Rap Song charts. The album's third single, None of Your Business, won them their first Grammy in 1995 for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or a Group, and Salt and Pepper made history as the first female rappers to take home the Grammy in that category. Queen Latifah also made history that year for the first female rapper to win Best Rap Solo Performance for UNITY. They released the final single, Heaven or Hell, that covered everything from police brutality to prostitution. It was packaged as a maxi single with a reworking of Let's Talk About Sex titled Let's Talk About AIDS, with lyrical changes to reflect the still rampant spread of HIV and AIDS. As their platform grew, so did the priceless value of their messaging. The whole Let's Talk About Sex turning into Let's Talk About AIDS, I think late ABC World News Tonight anchor Peter Jennings was the one that fronted that whole situation, Spinderella recalls. In 1992, Jennings hosted a special program called Growing Up in the Age of AIDS, a pioneering show that spoke directly to the youth. 14 years later, ABC aired Out of Control, AIDS in Black America, with more filmed commentary from Jennings, who had died the years prior in 2005. This was really about what was going on in the community and what the fears were. We were addressing the fears from our standpoint and just researching it and getting information, Spinderella continues. When you're blowing up, you come out to just give messages, but these messages come out through you if you allow it. It was just our responsibility to our audience to address things that were going on around us. The contributions of women were pinging on the major labels' radars, and they were searching for a new female rap talent to add to their rosters. Sure, maybe the executives weren't discerning about the female artists they signed, but luckily there was some quality in that quantity. Arriving on the heels of Yo-Yo's success came another West Coast female rapper by the name of Boss. Born in Detroit, Michigan, Lachelle Boss Laws gained her rap pedigree in Los Angeles as one of the first female rappers regarded as a true gangster rapper. Her debut album, Born Gangsters, in 1993 yielded 2 intense singles, Deeper and Recipe of a Hoe, both of which grabbed the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot Rap Tracks chart. In the video for the album's third single, Progress of Elimination, Boss is walking around a hazy morgue and driving through the California streets in a lowrider. Boss was aesthetically the polar opposite of her West Coast peer Yo-Yo. While Yo-Yo donned long blonde braids, tight pants, and a bomber jacket, Boss wore bandanas, Carhartt jackets, and her eyes were permanently concealed with pitch black Loke sunglasses. She resembles the male gangster rappers in both style and delivery, reaching the eyes and ears of Russell Simmons, who signed Boss to his newly minted, albeit short-lived label, Def Jam West. Another dynamic aspect of Boss's first and only album was that it was primarily produced by New York beatsmiths, including Eric Sermon, MC Serch, Def Jeff, and even the late Jam Master Jay of Run DMC. Queen Latifah's double-edged podium came later that year with the debut of her sitcom Living Single and the release of her third album, Black Rain. She was already building up her film resume with movies like House Party 2 and Juice under her belt. She also had a role in the 1993 film My Life, starring Michael Keaton, but would gain her greatest traction on the silver screen as Cleo in the 1996 urban classic Set It Off. As Queen Latifah was becoming more and more mainstream, she pulled no punches lyrically on Black Rain. On the Grammy-winning single UNITY, she posed the powerful question, who you calling a bitch? In the music video, Vin Rock from Naughty by Nature plays a gropey passerby who grabs Latifah's ass, and the play-by-play told through the lyrics. The result of his efforts and use of the B word is a black eye. Enough said. Her other single off the album, Just Another Day, brought to light everyday life in the streets of New Jersey in a similar vein as Ice Cube's It Was a Good Day, weaving inner city scenery with social commentary as Latifah rhymes about kids selling guns to police detectives only to get arrested, and the all too frequent carjacking happenings in her neighborhood since Newark, New Jersey became the car theft capital in 1992. Black Rain also marked a shift in Queen Latifah's personal life as she lost her brother Lance Owens to a motorcycle accident a year before the project was released. Her video for UNITY provided subtle homages to her brother, including the clutching of a necklace that bears his motorcycle key at the start of the video and riding a motorcycle in the visuals. The album's closer, Winky's Theme, is a tribute to Lance. It was also during this time period that Queen Latifah changed her record label, making the switch from Tommy Boy to the higher profile Motown. Life and the music industry had matured a then 23-year-old Latifah quickly, and Black Rain showed the evolution. The work was more refined and structured than her previous releases, yet still uncompromising, even when Latifah was on the brink of diving headfirst into Hollywood. During an interview with Billboard in 1993, Queen Latifah asked if she felt the music industry was showing more respect toward female rappers. It was a fair question, considering the growth of female rap talent was proof alone that women had just as much skill as men. The charting successes were just added bonuses, and Latifah in particular was head of the class. So were women more respected? Hell no, was her reply. All right, y'all. That was a mouthful. Hip hop is a conversation, so what the fuck is you saying? And what you listening for? How you responding to what's said? What do you have to contribute? I can't lie. I was talking to KK off camera, and I was saying, like, it's hard to read these chapters where, you know, these MCs that I respect and these heads that I respect, and I would say maybe and sometimes put them up on a pedestal, like where the journalism covers like when they had conflicts, when they were battling, when they were throwing punches at each other. But, you know, she reminded me that, like, we have to tell the full picture. We can't just tell the part that we want to read and to remember. So this was, like, a lot to take in, but I'm really curious what y'all got from it, what stood out to you. I think the other question that I'm curious about is, like, as hip-hop moved from being a counterculture culture that the music industry wasn't really investing in or believing in as a long-lasting legacy genre into the mainstream, how are you seeing this impact the art form and the artists within the art form? That's it. I've been running my mouth reading this book. Go pick up your copy if you haven't already. Like I said, it's in the description. This is called God Save the Queens, The Essential History of Women in Hip Hop, written by Kathy Iandoli. I love y'all. For real, for real.